After seeing the How to Train Your Dragon remake in theaters, I was left questioning what this movie is even about. You may say that it is a simple kids movie that you aren't supposed to think about too hard, or that it's woke trash where the dragons represent all the minorities who are being oppressed by the racist patriarchy, when really everyone is on the same side. Very typical storyline for Hollywood liberals. But surely a movie that has captured people's imaginations for well over a decade with no signs of stopping has at least a little bit more depth than all that. A more interesting common interpretation is that it is a Revenge of the Nerds style film. Not only is this correct, but there are many subtle aspects of the film that make it the ultimate Revenge of the Nerds film. Though personally I would prefer to call it a mythopoeticization of techno-cultist eschatology achieved through the use of biblical and fantastical imagery, but I suppose Revenge of the Nerds works just as well. It's more concise at least. In any case, the story begins by showing us the world of the Vikings, an untamed, frigid wilderness. On top of the standard dangers of such a place, they must also contend against dragons. Consequently, the life of the Vikings revolves around being able to fight off the dragons, mostly through raw strength. Except for our protagonist, Hiccup, who is physically weak but has developed, through sheer engineering prowess, a highly accurate ranged weapon to bring down the dragons. He looks up at the night sky, sees an abnormal movement, and becomes the first Viking to ever bring down a Night Fury, though of course no one believes him. The imagery used in this scene is notable, calling to mind the early usage of telescopes which led to the beginning of the scientific revolution. Later on, he encounters the dragon in the woods and is forced to choose either to kill it and gain great renown, or to loose the binds on it and quite possibly be killed himself. He chooses to free the dragon and very nearly dies as a result, but the dragon spares him. Following the astronomical thread, we can say that this parallels the abandonment of the old Ptolemaic models of the world, and having faith that from raw data, represented by the dragons, a new model can be made, the training of the dragon. Eventually, through Hiccup's courage, he befriends the dragon. After observing it and learning how it is injured, he engineers a new tail for it which he uses to fly. This parallels Newton's discovery of gravity fixing the models of the cosmos, and eventually leading to flight. Using his knowledge of dragons, he is able to consistently outperform his peers in the Dragon Slayer training. While most of the people of the village are impressed, the student whom he has displaced from first place becomes suspicious of him. Eventually, he is able to win her over to his side by showing her the wonders of what he has achieved through working with the dragon. Seeing the dragons now simply as animals, they are now shown their true enemy, the Great Dragon. It might seem odd that there is never any attempt to train this dragon. That is because, while regular dragons, like those found in the corners of old maps, represent the dangers of the unknown, the Great Dragon is imagery signifying the devil himself. But the villagers are too worried about the threat presented by the regular dragons to even begin to imagine that there might be a greater threat to them. So they demand that Hiccup shows them the way to the Dragon's Island, but when they get there they find that they are just a little outmatched, real late game Civ energy. Thankfully, Hiccup is able to train some more dragons, and then make it to the island in time to save Toothless and fight the Great Dragon. Together with the dragon he has trained, he defeats that ancient serpent, and the Vikings create a paradise by working together with the normal dragons. However, Hiccup loses his leg in the process, alluding to the prophecy in Genesis 3:15, making the work, as said before, a mythopoeticization of techno-cultist eschatology, achieved through the use of biblical and fantastical imagery. Far from subverting the traditional ideas of dragons, the film instead embraces the fundamental concepts of dragons and re-examines them through a modern lens. Of course, to us today, who are living through the social media age, such an optimistic view of technology seems quaint. The techno-cult now confined only to a rapidly shrinking number of Silicon Valley types. Perhaps we who sail these algorithmic seas would all do well to heed the ancient advice of the cartographers and computer programmers, who say that, "Here be dragons."